Hello, it's Evan. Welcome back to the Mindful 8 podcast. In today's episode 4, we are talking about the power of forgiveness. I just recently got back from Sunday Mass not too long ago, and the gospel and homily was all about forgiveness. When Peter went to Jesus and asked, "How many times should I forgive my servant who owes me a large sum of money? I should forgive him 7 times, right?" And Jesus' response was, "You should forgive him 77 times. And in the homily, the priest was talking about and made references to the Boston Marathon bombing, and unfortunately also mentioned some shootings in a Amish town. And when the Amish were interviewed, the father of the children who were unfortunately hurt in this incident was from a place of forgiveness for the person who did this to his family. And then for the Boston Marathon, there was this woman who was a nurse at the time, and when the bombings happened, gathered people to pray and say in Our Father. And when they got to the part about forgiveness, forgive us our trespasses, the group that was praying with this woman were hesitant to say that part of the prayer, because at the end of the day, it's a very challenging thing to forgive, right? It's awful that that incident happened to them, and they were struck and were in awe and were hesitant to forgive. And this is the topic of today's episode, is the power of forgiveness. You should always forgive yourself and forgive others and what happens in the world, because this is a righteous path to follow, this power of forgiveness. Because think about it. What's the opposite of forgiveness? Revenge. And lately and going forward, I always am going to be looking at emotions from a positive or negative standpoint. And forgiveness is a constant journey. It's constantly forgiving yourself, constantly forgiving others. It's why when you go about a conversation, instead of saying, "I am sorry to be disturbing you," you say, "Forgive me," because it's more laid back, and "I am sorry" is automatically communicating to a person that you are disturbing them. But if you say, "Forgive me," there's more of an understanding. There's also a great quote, "Forgive them, Father, for they not know what they do." When Jesus was being crucified, even when he was being crucified, put to death, he still said, "Father, forgive them." And it goes for unconscious people too. Don't get upset at unconscious people and how they treat you. Always forgive. That's how you must live your life. So forgive yourself, forgive others, and forgive what happens in the world. Forgive yourself. As you begin this personal development journey of self-growth and discovery, you may or may not run into times where you act like your old paradigm self. If and when that happens, forgive and move on. Okay? Also goes to say that forgive yourself before you enter your temple, right? When Jesus said, "Enter the temple," forgive before you enter the temple. Yes, literally, he was saying, "Forgive before you enter my place of worship," But there's also a lot of symbolism in the Bible, and you should think that Jesus was saying that because forgive yourself before you enter your temple, which is a place of worship, which is where the affirmations come from, prayer comes from. You always worship in your mind. Think about this. Always forgive yourself, right? It's you, yourself, and I at the end of the day. Me, myself, and I. That is if you're identifying with I and me. Forgive yourself always. Forgive others. This is the tough part, but it's super important. It's inevitable for you to run into people who are unconscious and unconsciously treat you a certain way, right? Which in return steals your power, steals your energy. If you have this strong mental barrier when confronted with unconscious people, understand that forgiveness is at the top of that barrier, right? Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. When your mother or your father or your sisters or your brothers or your friends get upset with you, and you know that what they say isn't what they actually mean, forgive them. Because then if you indulge into it, and now you just want revenge, you're honestly hurting yourself at the end of the day. Thus, you'll have to forgive yourself. So when people become upset with you and yell at you, get angry at you, start to hate you, just forgive them, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's up to you how you react to certain situations. It's the only thing that you can control at the end of the day, right? The power of forgiveness. It is a superpower. Learn it, understand it, and apply it to everyday life. And then what happens in the world, in this realm, this earthly realm as a whole, obviously, it's a lot of positives, there's negatives. Forgive it all, right? If you understand that we are one with the earth, with this realm, you forgive those who do the earth harm. If you understand that they are unconscious with what they do, just forgive them. That's what it comes down to. This was an episode on the power of forgiveness. I affirm that it resonated with you when you are confronted with unconscious thoughts in your head. Before you enter your head to worship, to pray, to visualize, to manifest, when you are confronted with people who are unconscious, and when you see that things are happening in the world where you question what's actually going on here, this is harming our earth, this is harming our humanity, always go about it with forgiveness. Okay? The power of forgiveness is important to your success and your well-being. Develop it and apply it to your life. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.